2.3 is solving multi-step equations. So now we're going to look at how you can solve equations by combining like terms, how you can solve equations using distribution, and then how you can solve equations doing both of those things. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to, again, draw in my wall on this example. And what you'll notice this time is when you get ready to circle your variable, you'll notice that there are two of them. And so what we're going to do today is we want to circle those like terms because we need to get those like terms together. If two things are on the same side of your wall, we need to put them together. And so a 4b and a positive 2b is going to give me a 6b. And then I'm just going to bring down this plus 16. So I'm putting those together. And then equals negative 14. And once you have combined your like terms, you're now ready for a two-step equation, which is what we did yesterday. So I'm solving for b. My 6 is connected, so I need to move my plus 16 first. So I do that by subtracting 16 on both sides. And then I'm going to bring or work left to right. So I'm bringing down 6b plus 16 minus 16 cancels. Bring down your equal sign. Negative 14 minus 16. Those have the same sign. So I'm going to add and keep that sign. Final step in solving for b, my 6 is squeezed. That means multiplication. So to cancel multiplication, I need to do division on both sides. And that's going to be 1b equals negative 30 divided by 6 is negative 5. Example 2. So this time, I'm going to draw in my equal sign. I have negative 3z plus 8 plus negative 12 equals negative 12. And what you'll notice this time is that I don't have more than one z. I can just circle that z. I don't have more than one. But what I do have are two constants. I have a positive 8 and I have a negative 12. And so we can combine those together, those integers, by subtracting and keeping the sign of the biggest, and that would give us a negative 4. And then I can just bring down my negative 3z, bring down my equal sign, and negative 12. Again, I'm solving for z here. Notice my negative 3 is connected, so I'm going to deal with it last. So I need to move my minus 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides of my wall and bring things down left to right. So I'm going to bring down negative 3z. Negative 4 and positive 4 is going to cancel. Bring down my equal sign. Negative 12 plus 4, different signs. So I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the biggest. So that's going to make it negative. Now to solve for z, negative 3 is being squeezed. That's multiplication. So I'm going to divide by that negative 3 on both sides of the equal sign, or both sides of the wall. Those are going to become a positive 1z equals, and if you do that on your calculator, you're going to get out a decimal. So we're going to bring it down as is to start, and then we're going to see if we can simplify it. So you're asking yourself, is there a number that goes into an 8 and a 3? There is not, so I cannot reduce it. However, what we do know is that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So my final answer is a positive 8 over 3. Example 3. I'm going to draw in my wall, and before I circle my x, I'm going to put 1s in front of all of these so that I remember that there are 1s that exist there. And then I'm going to circle all of these x's, and I want you to notice that there are negative or subtraction signs in front of them. I'm going to circle those so that I don't forget they go with that 1. And so what I can do is I can combine those together by taking negative 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 1. That's the same thing as doing negative 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1. And that's going to give us negative 4x, and then I'm going to bring down, that's a positive 12. bring down my equals, and bring down my 78. Now I'm going to circle my x. Notice my negative 4 is connected to my x, so I'm going to deal with it last. I'm going to start with my plus 12. To move it, I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides. Working left to right, 78 minus 12 is 66 equals negative 4x, positive 12, and negative 12 is going to cancel. To solve for x, my negative 4 is squeezed or being multiplied to my x, so I need to divide by negative 4 to get it to cancel out. If you do that on your calculator, you're going to get out a decimal. So we're going to just bring it down exactly as we see it, bring down our equal sign, and that becomes a positive 1x. So the question is, can I reduce a 66 and a 4? Yes, I can reduce those numbers by 2. So 66 divided by 2 is 33. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And the only thing we're going to change is when you have a fraction, you don't leave the negative sign on bottom. You're either going to put it on top or you're going to put it out front, but you never leave a negative sign on bottom. So my final answer is going to look like this. X equals negative 33 over 2. Now we're going to look at how we solve equations by distributing. I'm going to draw in my wall. Notice I have my C inside my parentheses, but I also have a number outside those parentheses that I need to multiply through. So we're going to do that first. So we're going to take negative 2 times C, which is negative 2C, and then we're taking, remember this negative sign goes with that 4, negative 2 times negative 4, which is a positive 8. Bring down your equal sign, and bring down your 12. And remember that after you distribute, when we did that in 1.5, your parentheses go away. Now I can circle this C. Notice my negative 2 is connected, and so I need to move my plus 8 first. So the first thing I do then to do that is subtract 8 on both sides of my wall to keep it balanced. Left to right, I bring down negative 2C, plus 8 minus 8 cancels, equals 12 minus 8 is 4. Negative 2 is being multiplied or squeezed, so to cancel it, I must divide by that negative 2. So I'm left with 1C equals 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Next example, I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 in front of that W so we remember that it exists. I have this 5 outside the parentheses, and so I need to distribute them through first. So I can circle that W and notice that there's nothing to combine, but I need to multiply that 5 through. So 5 times 6 is 30, and then make sure we're paying attention. That negative goes with that 1. 5 times negative 1W is negative 5W. Bring down your equals, bring down your negative 5. Then I'm going to circle my W, what we're solving for. Notice that my negative 5 is connected to that W, so we're going to deal with it last. So the first thing I'm going to move is my 30. So I'm going to move positive 30 by subtracting 30 on both sides and working left to right. 30 minus 30 cancels, and I bring down negative 5W equals a negative 5 and a negative 30. Same sign, add the numbers, keep the sign. Final step, that negative 5 is being multiplied to the W, so to cancel it, I must divide by negative 5 on both sides. So that becomes 1W equals, and that's a positive 7. Now we're going to put both of these together. So if you'll notice, this negative 3 is outside these parentheses. I'm going to put a 1 in front of this x, and so we're going to, after we draw on our wall here, we're going to distribute this negative 3 through first. So negative 3 times 1x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times, notice that's a negative 1, is a positive 3. And then this positive 9 that was over here was not inside the parentheses, and so all we're going to do is just bring it down, bring down your equals, and then bring down your 15. If you will notice, I now have two constants on the same side of the wall, and so we need to put those together to become one number. So plus 3 plus 9 is a plus 12, and then you can bring down this negative 3x. Bring down your equal sign and bring down your 15. I'm solving for x. Again, I want to isolate my x. Negative 3 is connected, so I need to move my plus 12. So I'm going to do that by subtracting 12 on both sides. Left to right, negative 3x plus 12 minus 12 cancels. Bring down your equals. 15 minus 12 is 3. To get x alone, negative 3 is being multiplied. They are squeezed, so I must divide. And I'm going to divide by that negative 3 on both sides. That gives me a positive 1x equals 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. I'm going to draw in my wall. Notice this time you have a number, you have parentheses, but you have a number outside of those parentheses. So this positive 4 is outside my parentheses, and I need to distribute it through to get rid of those parentheses. And I'm going to put a 1 in front of that x. So I'm going to take 4 times negative 6, which is negative 24. 4 times 1x is a positive 4x. And then I'm going to bring down my equals, bring down my negative 16. I also had this out here, not in the parentheses, so I need to make sure that I bring it down. I can't just circle 1x this time because notice I have a 4x and a 4x. So the first thing I need to do is combine those together. A positive 4 and a positive 4 is a positive 8x. And then we'll just bring down our minus 24 and bring down your equals and your negative 16. Now I can circle this x. The 8 is connected, so I'm going to move my minus 24 first by adding 24 to both sides. Working left to right, bring down 8x, minus 24 plus 24 cancels, bring down your equals, negative 16 plus 24, subtract, keep the sign of the biggest, is an 8. 8 is squeezed, which means multiplication, so to cancel, I need to divide to get x alone by 8. And that's a 1x equals 8 divided by 8 is 1. That concludes multi-step equations.